So I, like you, are probably here in your home on voluntary lockdown. Some of us are in mandatory lockdown or self-imposed lockdown. Whatever that is for you, it's probably creating a situation where you have, well, let's just call it an opportunity to look at your inscape, to be able to experience that on a deeper, more potent level and a more reflective level, not from a place of fear. So I've been in that place of looking at that inscape. I've also been observing what's happening in the outerscape, the media. I've been collecting data on this virus. And I've been observing the various kind of reactions and actions associated with that data. And I want to send a deep gratitude to all those that are in our healthcare industry, our doctors, our nurses, our hospital workers, for all that they're doing. But notwithstanding all that data that I'm gathering, nothing has been more important than what I have found within the presence of my heart, within the presence of my stillness, within the presence of my guides and teachers. So I am sharing this video with you because I want to help each and every one of you in your own way. And of course, I want to help myself, and the best I know how to do that is to do my own work and then share what I'm learning. So hence I'm here bringing that forth for whatever it's worth. And these critical insights in this inscape have asked me this question: Adam, what do you see that is yet to be seen? And what do you hear that is yet to be heard? In other words, see and be open to seeing that which maybe you have not seen, that's transcendent of your old belief systems, your old fears. And hear that voice that is yet to be heard, that speaks perhaps softly, that's wise, that's gentle, that's a guide. So I want to invite you in this video to be reflective of your own inner landscape. But I also going to offer 3 very critical things that I believe are essential to not only adopt, but to thrive during these times of monumental earth changes. I want you to know that you're not alone, that we are all in this together, and together we can. So let us begin. The serial entrepreneur in me says that the coronavirus is an extraordinary opportunity for all of us. As a matter of fact, it may be the opportunity of a lifetime to really, quantum leap into our greatest potential, where you can really truly grab hold of your power and your truth as an authentic being, and you can unleash your genius in the world. This coronavirus offers us an opportunity to radically shift from fear to love, from lack to wealth. So in this video, I want to share with you how you can do that. And you don't need anything on your outscape. You have everything you need right now to invoke your own sense of power, to defeat fear once and for all, and to embrace the deeper inner love, the authentic self, the genius self within you, and to share that with your loved ones and in your place of work to help you fulfill that life's purpose and to not let fear take you down. So these three things are going to help you unlock this grip of fear and unleash your genius. All right? So let's begin. Numero uno, number one. I want to help you understand just what is fear and what can you do with it. Okay? What is fear and what you can do with it. Number two, I'm going to give you a technique. One technique that will rid your body of fear once and for all. And when you rid your body of this energy of fear, it will boost your immune system and up your vitality. You'll feel more alive and living your passion, living your purpose. That's number two. Very simple technique. Number three, and lastly, I'm going to reveal in this video who wins. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Who wins? Well, this is a game of life. And we're here to not only survive, but we're really here to thrive. And we're here to share our love and our light and our genius and to make a difference in the world. And there's a winning team that you want to be on. Now, there's no losers in this game, but you want to be on the winning team. So you're going to want to know who wins. Now, for those of you that want to skip right to the end and find out who wins, I'm sorry, but it doesn't work that way. You really need to watch the whole video, and then you'll understand who wins. And then you'll know how to be a winner that's transcendent of fear and to live the truth of who you are. All right? So let's get started. I want to share with you, first of all, well, the golden principles. Well, really, it's a golden principle. And the great martial artists, the Tai Chi masters, the Taekwondo masters, the Karate masters, and all the other martial artists that are masters of their art and of their craft. They live by this one principle. And so too should you. And so too should we collectively to survive. Well, adopt and thrive during this time. And that principle is, if you can anticipate, you can avoid. And if you can avoid, you can live longer. I mean, isn't that what life is all about? Is it not about living your longest, fullest life in your optimum health and vitality? To find the love and the laughter and the passion of being alive? I call it living your epic life, shining your genius in the world. And I think we all know this, that knowledge is power. When you know what fear is, you can defeat fear. When you know what fear is, you can avoid fear. And when you avoid fear, you get to live longer. And you only get to avoid fear not by going around it, although it sounds that way. You get to avoid fear by going right through it, because when you understand fear, you go right through it. And when you understand fear, you disempower fear. As a matter of fact, when you shift your perspective because you know what fear is, what happens is that you are able to actually make fear your power. In other words, it drives your energy. It's like putting a log on the fire. It makes the fire stronger and warmer. So when you do that, you will gain more power, and you will avoid fear, and you will live longer. And that power that you will gain is you will be able to fulfill your life's purpose and live your life's mission right now, not tomorrow, and not in your next lifetime. And even if you don't know your life's purpose or you don't know your life's mission, understanding fear will help you to find it and live it on a more, well, let's just say in a more passionate and purposeful way, with more clarity and certainty. So, the dynamics of fear are not that difficult. They seemingly are because emotions are abstract and unknown. They well up from our deeper inner psychology. But here's the trick about fear. Fear is not an emotional state. Fear is a feeling in the body. So the body is in a projection of fear. And the body is in a projection of fear because when it's in its separateness of our ego, it recognizes that everything outside of itself can be fearful. And it terrorizes our mind. So the idea of our feeling of fear, once we know what it is, once we have a deeper insight as to what it's composed of, we can recognize it and we can let it go. And when we let it go, it doesn't lodge in the body. And we free ourselves to live the kind of life we want. So here's a few things that I want to support you in knowing what fear is and knowing the dynamics of fear and freeing you from that feeling that exists within your body and the idea of being separate, well, quite frankly, from love. Because fear is the absence of love, my friends. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to invite you to make fear your friend. Seriously. Befriend fear. Hello, friend. Hello, fear. It's good to see you again. Well, not really, but what do you have to teach me today? Right? And the interesting thing about fear is not just a feeling. Fear can be a habit. God, I mean, we can get habitually scared in the world. Fear can be a personality. Oh, Lord, help us on that one. But I got to tell you something. Fear was habitual for me. Fear was part of my life. Almost in everything I do. You see, for much of my 58 years, I lived by the law of the jungle. When the sun comes up, whether you're a lion or a gazelle, you better run like hell. I functioned from a place of fear. I fought from a place of fear. I felt from a place of fear. So we want to avoid fear by understanding fear. And we can get beyond that. So what we're talking about here is making fear your friend. I mean, it doesn't have to hang around, and you can show your friend the door when you're ready. But you can learn a lot about befriending fear. And as a matter of fact, fear is either going to force you to make a change, sometimes not so pleasantly, like what we're experiencing now, certainly manifest in the body in the area of disease or illness in other ways. But ultimately, by inviting fear into your life, you can learn something deeply. So what I want to share with you now is a little bit about the top 5 fears We can fear a bee, we can fear a butterfly, we can fear all kinds of things, the air, the light. There's all kinds of phobias. But I want to share with you the top 5. Number 5 is failure, the fear of failure. Number 4 is the fear of success. Yep, we fear our own success. Number 3 is the unknown. And I want to just emphasize a little bit more about the unknown, because it's not the unknown that we fear. If you think about it, we don't know what the unknown is. We fear the thought that it's unknown. And that thought is a fear based upon our belief system and traumas that we've had over our lifetime. In other words, fear invites us to remember our past and act and function from our past, because we don't know what the future looks like. So we operate from a place of fear. Okay? Number 2 is death. Now, death is actually not as complicated as it may seem. And you may go, what? But my work with death, really over the last 18 years, has been deep and profound, not only through my own near-death experiences, but also wanting and intending to get out of this lifetime alive. And just to put it very most simply, although there's more to it, we fear death when we identify with the body, because the body, will die. Just like everything in the material world dies or disappears. But when we understand that we're not the body, that we're a body in spirit, and that we are spirit within God, and we're spirit within love, I should say, as well, then we realize that our death is merely just another experience in the greater totality of who we really are and our soul's journey through time. So death doesn't have to be such a big fear, and all of these fears are really a matter of choice. And by deconstructing fear and knowing what it is, your life can change. Now, have you met the Fear Twins? I want to introduce you to the Fear Twins. Maybe you have not met them. And maybe you just really wanted to avoid them. And here's what I mean by that. The Fear Twins are Phobos and Deimos. Deimos is the little terror, the one that terrorizes our mind. And Phobos is the one that invokes the fear and the phobias in our life. And they live in a part of our brain, in our inner psychology, where we have hardwired ourselves for survival. And in this part of the brain, it's the primal brain, it's the hindbrain, and it's in the medulla, in the back of our head. And this is where Deimos and Phobos live, okay? And the beauty about neuroplasticity of the brain is our ability to rewire the brain. In other words, while we want to maintain our survival and instinctual nature, we also want to undo the seemingly hardwiring of these two little devils, so to speak, Deimos and Phobos. And astrologically, Deimos and Phobos are the moons of Mars. And Mars is the warrior planet. And our application of these two little demons and these two little devils and these phobias around fear can really be altered to change our hardwiring and rewire ourselves in our primal brain. And fear is a yang energy, so it's always wanting to project itself in the world. It's always thrusting and penetrating out from ourselves and in the world, wreaking havoc and chaos, of course. The air that fear breathes on is carbon dioxide. Yeah. We humans cannot survive by breathing carbon dioxide. Metaphorically, we cannot survive by breathing fear and projecting fear. Now, coincidentally, fear gets its energy by getting rid of it. In other words, the more we project fear, the more we get more fear. It's constantly expanding itself outward. It does not hang on to itself. That's what fear does. It sucks the life force, the oxygen, out of our body and out of our life. But guess what? Guess what? Love is our oxygen. Love is our blood. Love is our life nature. So we want to remember to breathe in the love of who we are, the H2O, and not breathe in the fear parts of our lives, which is that carbon dioxide. So I want to encourage you to think about these two little twins, to think about making friends with these little devils. You can always show them the door. Yeah, you sure can. But to understand the depth and the dynamic of fear and how that operates within our lives. And lastly, and I know this is going to feel very strange, but the number one fear in our life is the fear of love. And you may say, what? I don't fear love. I welcome love. Well, when we are in fear, when we are in a place of our separate self, our disconnection with others, with nature, we fear love because love is our connection with one another. Love is the oneness of who we are. Love is our interrelatedness and just being with Mother Nature. So we fear that because when we are in the totality of our authentic self, our genius self, as I would say, we are one with all of that. We are one with love. And as a result, fear and our separate self is annihilated. It goes away. So we fear that, even unconsciously. So what I want to do now is move to number 2 and give you a quick technique of how to release fear from your body. You won't want to miss this one because it's something that's easy to practice and you can do immediately when fear rises in your life, and you will overcome fear and you will empower the love and truth of who you are. So the second thing I want to share with you today is a technique. And this simple technique can help you to, expel the fear that lodges energetically within the body. And as I was sharing with you, in the primal brain, in the hindbrain, in the medulla, our survival brain, our instinctual brain, that activates our parasympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight mode. And as you all well know that have experienced fear, whether for better or for worse, maybe fear gets you out of the way of a bus, but ultimately it activates that parasympathetic nervous system. And fear oftentimes resides right in this area of your diaphragm, right above the third chakra. So it impacts our breathing, and it ups our level of wanting to take oxygen and intake to actually expel the energy that seemingly is frightening us. So what I want to suggest today is something that I got from my chiropractor that's helped me tremendously over the years, and it's called asparagus breath. And how perfect of a name, asparagus, the great warrior, the warrior of light, the warrior of love, the one that is fearless, the one that has the courage. So what I want to say to you is it's to focus on this technique and is really simple. And so I'll demonstrate to you what I'm talking about. So what you want to do is you want to get your chest up and your shoulders back. Kind of tuck your back in. You know, your butt out a little bit, but tuck your back in and get your shoulders out. Yeah. And what you want to do is you want to do some Buddha breathing. So we breathe in through the lower belly, filling the belly up, ultimately filling the lungs up. So let's try that. So you just take a few breaths. Okay, so then you fill your belly up, that fills your lungs up, and then you let those lungs drop. And that ultimately drains out into the belly. And then you begin again in the lower belly. Filling your belly up, ultimately filling your lungs up. And then releasing through the lungs, down through the belly. Squeeze in that belly. Always keeping your chest out, that asparagus chest. So try that a few times, and you may want to even sit on the end of a chair and do it where you're sitting down with your chest out, or better yet, when you're standing up, to remind yourself to keep your shoulders back, chest up, back in, Buddha breath, Buddha belly. Letting it out through the lungs, all the way out through the belly. And this will help you to dispel that fear that resides in the body. And of course, that will build up your life force, your chi force, which will build up your immunity system. Try that. I found that it works tremendously well when I start to feel stress or get edgy or have had a moment of fight or flight. All right? Okay, so we finally arrived at the third and the last critical insight that I wanted to give to you, and that is, who is the winner of the game of life? So I'm using a game as the metaphor here. And life is like a game, and some of us play it really well, others don't. We're all subject to our primal brain, our hindbrain and our mammalian brain. We all have a parasympathetic and a sympathetic nervous system that's impacted by our fear or flight mode. So when it comes to the game of life, there's a lot of different things to master. And fear is something that we can engage and use to our advantage once we know the dynamics of fear. So in this game of life, there's 13 rounds to the game. Okay, there's 13 rounds to the game. And whoever gets the most rounds wins. In other words, 7 rounds beats 6 rounds. I think you get the idea. And in this game of life, there are 2 teams. One team is the team of love. The other team is the team of fear. Love versus fear. It's either one or the other. Who's going to win? Love or fear? There's got to be one winner. So in this game, I want you to think of it this way. If it was the Super Bowl or some major championship soccer match, And if you knew the winner of that game before the game was even played, you would probably place your bet on that winner. Of course you would. And it just so happens, this has a big payout. It's like $1 million to 1. So you put down $1, you get $1 million. I'm giving you a little bit of an idea of how potent this knowledge is to know the winner and to be on the winning team. All right? So this is giving you some insight of who is going to win the game of life. Fear or love? Dark or light? And what side do you want to be on? And the whole thing is you get to choose what side you want to be on. But you've got to choose the team you want to be on consciously and do so, well, really immediately, especially with these great earth changes that are underway. So, of course, you don't want to be on the team of fear and you want to be on the team of love, right? But ultimately, it's not that simple because in order to get on the team of love, you need to understand the dynamics and make a choice that's not fear-based and act according to things that are based on love, not on fear. Okay, you follow me? So that's why I wanted you to watch the video beforehand. Okay, so here's how the game goes. So the first round of the 13 rounds goes to love. The second round goes to fear. The third round goes to love. The fourth round goes to fear. The fifth round goes to love. The sixth round goes to fear. The seventh round goes to love. The eighth round goes to fear. The ninth round goes to love. The 10th round goes to fear. The 11th round goes to love. The 12th round goes to fear. And the 13th round, and the winner is love. Love wins. Well, I hope you choose love. And I hope you choose to move beyond fear and defeat fear once and for all, because love wins. And love is what brings our life alive. Love is what makes, well, it's the old cliche, the world go round. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful to you. I look forward to hearing any feedback that you may have pertaining to it and sharing your ideas and your wisdom. And of course, please share this with your loved ones and the world so that we can all come together. We are in this together, and we all can all move beyond the great challenges facing the earth. And when we do so, we embrace our authentic selves, both individually and collectively. We step into our genius and we get to share the light and love of who we are. Blessings to all of you and Godspeed.